Hello and welcome to Magazine Monday, in which I bring you a montage of some of the things I've been doing as part of my frugal lifestyle over the last week. So welcome to the Frugal Granny channel. My name's Ali and I'm Frugal Granny. I'm a 65-year-old semi-retiree trying to do the best with what I've got, having left my office job at the end of June last year, 2025, and getting the UK state pension at the end of July 2027, which is a year and a few months' time. If you're new here, it's really lovely to see you and I hope you'll stick around. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for all of your lovely comments on my last video, which was a prepper pantry tour that I published on Saturday. That's had a lot of response and it's been very interesting, and I'm very grateful for a lot of your suggestions, so thank you. There's a few things I want to update you on today. The progress in the garden, which has included stacking half the firewood I need for next winter and pressure washing the patio and the path, and that will include how to troubleshoot your pressure washer if it won't work when it's been inactive all winter. And actually mine was inactive last year as well because of the drought. Wasn't allowed to use it. We're also going to look at the seeds to see how they've germinated and what we do with those next. And I also want to show you a little bit closer the solar power pack that I've bought. Right, so first of all we'll have a look round the garden. I just wanted to show you how lovely and clean my patio stones are. I pressure washed my patio and my path in 2 stages over the last week just to get ready for the summer, and now they're looking a lot cleaner. There you are, you can see how clean it is there. I perhaps need to get a scrubbing brush and some bleach out for the wall. There's the other end of it. It's all looking lovely and clean now, and what you can see there is the new parasol base. And there's the new parasol. I've got it wound down at the moment because there's a bit of a wind today, and you're not going to believe what happened. The parasol was unfurled the other day and a gust of wind lifted it out of the base, and it caught behind both of those sets of downpipes and barricaded me into my kitchen. So that really was quite interesting, and I had to get my neighbour to get on a ladder and help me to undo that. I'm doing a bit of a voiceover here because the wind was really quite strong out there when I was filming, and Bells was barking at people in next door neighbours' gardens. This is the latest bed that I've dug over. This is the purple sprouting broccoli bed. I've taken out all of the weeds and the strawberry runners. I've replanted the strawberry runners, dug the whole bed over, and here we have the rhubarb bed, which is beginning to really burgeon. All of the rhubarb has come back now. There's the kale bed, and you can see how I've rearranged some of the pots this week. I've taken a white buddleia out of that right hand pot and put my blackcurrant bush in there, and you can see the mint tubs being moved. I've taken the sedum out of the old sink and put some parsley and thyme in there, and there's one little house leek left in there. I've moved the tub of chives down here and replanted the alpine strawberries that are underneath the plum tree, and I've rescued that self-sown lemon balm from the broccoli bed and put that in a pot here next to the black currant. And then I'm just panning round so you can see the pear blossom. There's the fig tree, and I've got some white bluebells and some primroses there. This is the next bed that's going to be done. I have to get that red currant bush into that pot, rehome the buddleia, and I need to get those rosemary bushes into the ground. Those are the old broccoli stalks that are drying and are going to be cut up for kindling. And there's my bike, the one that I rescued back from the bike man. Now we're back in from the garden, I just want to give you a quick hint about what to do if you get your pressure washer out of the shed or the cellar or wherever after a long winter and you turn it on and nothing happens. What this probably means is that you have got an airlock in the system and you need to flush that out before you start. So let me just turn this back round and I will try and demonstrate or explain without hooking the whole thing up, because I don't exactly want to have to get the hose pipe out of the shed and everything. So this is my little pressure washer. It's all I really need for the patio and path that I've got. Now, it should be in the off position. Now, when you set it up, you get it plugged in, attach the water, and you turn it on, and you should hear it sort of make a thumping sort of buzzy noise as it gets ready for you to use the lance. Now, if you then press the trigger on the lance and the water comes out unpressurized, or at least with very little pressure, then what you need to do, turn it off, unplug it, leave the water in, but turn it off at the tap. Now, once you've turned it off at the tap, what you need to do is just pull this little clip forward. This is a really sticky thing to do. It's not easy. So you pull that clip off your lance and then detach the, golly, easier said than done, detach the hose line that goes from the actual pressure unit to the lance. Put that somewhere where you don't mind it's going to run water. Go back to the mains tap, turn the hose pipe on and let the water blow through this for about 5 minutes to clear any airlocks, any bubbles in the system. Then go back to the tap, turn the tap off, reattach the hose to your pressure washer. It goes in and probably twists. Put the clip back on. My clip's a little bit broken. I need to get a spare one. One of the arms has come off it, but it still works. Okay, then when you've done that, you can plug the pressure washer back into the mains and switch it on, turn the tap on, and then switch it on to on, and you should hear the unit prime. And then when you press the trigger on the lance, you should get full pressure through the unit and you'll be able to use your pressure washer. Bells is barking because my neighbour's bringing the wheelie bin down the tunnel. Yeah, so that's basically for those of you who are like me, who sort of live on your own. You're not necessarily terribly practically minded. You've been brave enough to get yourself a pressure washer and then you find that suddenly it's not working. Try that first. I think it will save you a lot of hassle. I'm just going to put that away now. Okay, now you've seen around the garden and how I troubleshoot my airlocked pressure washer. Right, now let's have a quick look at how the seeds are doing. Well, here you can see the courgette seeds that I planted. I planted 12. 10 of them have come up really well. That one's just emerging. And this one, nothing's happened yet. It's always a little bit tempting to have a dig around and see if anything's going to emerge. Probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to. I'm a bit nosy. Being very, very careful because I don't want to break anything that might be ready to come up. Oh, did I even put a seed in here? I can't see anything in there. Oh, there's a seed. Just don't want to break the embryo root. I'm going to leave that because the more I fiddle with it, the more likely I am to damage it. Now, it's very, very tempting also to try and pick the seed coat off the cotyledons. These seed leaves are called cotyledons. You shouldn't really do this, but yeah, I'll just pick that off there, flip that off there, and then that can open up. So I've got 11 at the moment, 11 courgettes, which means I will have a few spares. I normally plant about 8. I put 2 plants in each station and I have 4 stations. in my courgette bed, which is the next bed to be prepared in the garden. I've sorted out the rhubarb bed, the broccoli bed's ready, and I also interplant that with lettuce. The next bed to be done is the courgette bed, and then the kale bed will be last because that's still producing. The next thing I'm going to do is show you the lettuce and the brassicas that I sowed. The first tray is the cut and come again lettuces. So those are the cut and come again lettuces, and I will not be thinning these out. I'm just going to let them produce their true leaves. At the moment they are still at the seed leaf stage. You can see these seed leaves are a lot less sturdy and fleshy than those of the courgettes. And this should have a mixture of lettuces in, but we'll wait and see. Some of the seeds are more resilient than others, so we may find that we end up with more of a monoculture than we would like. But I'm just going to leave those to grow on. I feel a little bit dry, so I shall be watering those once I've finished filming. So let's swap these for the brassica tray. As you remember, I labelled these as kale, purple sprouting broccoli, spinach and lettuce. Now this lettuce here is Lollo Rosso, which is the curly red lettuce, which I think gives a nice bulk and a bit of colour and texture to a summer salad. These seeds are a little bit old, but I'm quite impressed about the way they've germinated. The spinach hasn't germinated quite as thickly as I would have liked, but I can see some of it still beginning to come up, so I'm not going to lose hope there yet. But if all of these seedlings turn into plants, I should have enough. I will be sowing another tray like this probably at the end of next week, so I've got a backup in case we meet disaster along the way. The kale and the purple sprouting broccoli have come up really well. Now what I do at this stage is thin it down to about 3 seedlings per module. So I'm just going to do that now so you can see the process. Now you've got to be very, very careful when you do this that you don't uproot the other seedlings in the module. So if we look at this module here, it's already got 3 quite healthy seedlings in, so I'm going to leave those. This one's rather overcrowded. Let me just see here. So I normally tend to pull out the weaker looking ones first. So I'm just going to pull those very, very gently. You need to be very careful you don't uproot the other seedlings while you're going. So there's one there, there's 2 quite close together there, which is not ideal, but the other one I think we'll remove is there. So that's got 3 in there. This module's not done terribly well at all. We've got two quite poorly looking seedlings. We'll just leave those as they are. This one, just remove those 2 weaklings. And then that's 3 there, so I'm going to remove those 2. Now here, okay, we've got one that's quite elongated. Now that's not brilliant really. I know those are elongated too, but here we've got a choice. So the elongated one's coming out, and then I'm going to remove that one. That one's quite close to the other one, so I'm just going to pick the top off rather than pull it out. And then that one's coming out. That was the elongated one. So I think we've got 3 left there and one that's very, very close. So I'm just going to leave that one for now. Here we've got 4. So again, the really small one and the really, whoops, that's going to uproot. Just be careful. Okay, so I've got 3 left there. That really long one's coming out of there, as is that. Those small ones there are coming out. So what have I got left here now? I'm going to leave that long. Sorry about that, I've just been to see what Bells is barking at out the front window. It was just the postman, poor guy. Right, that one there, there's 3 in a cluster, so I'm going to remove those. I'm going to go back to this one. Oh dear, right, there's a small one and a weak one there. There's another weak one there. Yeah, I think I'm going to take those 2 out. Right, so that leaves me with 3 there. That's the lettuce, the broccoli and the kale seedlings thinned out. The thinnings will go in my worm bin to feed my pet worms. And I'm now going to show you my power bank and the solar panel. So the other thing I wanted to show you today was a closer look at the solar power bank that I have bought. It's just a small one, and it's basically, I've bought it because I want to use it for my laptop, my iPad and my phone and my son's phone and any other smaller thing that needs power. I do hope to use it to try and reduce my electricity bill over the summer, but it's mainly for backup. But if I'm at home and the sun is shining and I know that I can recharge the thing, then I will use it for ongoing power to try and ameliorate my electricity bill. There's another big word, ameliorate, make it less, make it better. The power pack that I've bought is the R600 from a company called All Powers. Now this power pack is exactly the same as one that you will have seen on Frugal Queen in France. Jane and Mike use this one. They also have one that's slightly larger, and they also have an even larger power pack from a different company. Now, if you are interested in getting one of these power packs, Jane does have a discount code. Now, one thing I would say to you is don't all rush out and buy one of these, because they do have quite good offers every now and then. And I was incredibly fortunate that I thought about getting one of these in the run up to Easter, and they had an Easter half price sale. So I managed to get mine at a significant discount, and then I was able to apply the code and I got a further £17.50 off my purchase. The delivery was free. So they are expensive normally. We are talking expensive, but I think, let me try and get this right. Okay, I'm just looking at the order on my phone. I bought the All Powers, oh bells, please stop barking. I bought the All Powers R600 plus 200 watt solar panel ×1 as a pack. So I think it was the R600 black, R600 plus SE200 laminated panel, and the total cost in their pre-Easter sale was £358, and I think that was at least 40 to 42% off. And then I used the Frugal Queen code and I got a discount of £17.90, and the total for that purchase was £340.10, and that included shipping, and I came by DPD. Yeah, so there we go. Now I'm going to show you a picture of the solar panels out on the path. I've not been able to put the solar panels out since then because the weather has dropped and we've had on and off showers and cloudy weather since then. So we're not quite into the season where I can put the thing out and utilize it to its full extent, but it is now fully charged. And I'm keeping that as a backup until I get into a period of the year when I know that if I use the charge in that pack overnight to charge my laptop and my iPad and my phone, that I will be able to repower the power pack using the solar panels the next day. And rather like Jane showed in her video on Sunday, yesterday, I have to move the solar panels up my path to follow the path of the sun over the afternoon. She has to move hers round her courtyard. So it's not something that you can really leave out on the path and then go out, to be honest, because you don't want it to get rained on and you need to move it so that it's catching the optimal amount of sunshine. Right, I'm just going to put the power pack on my kitchen table so that you can have a bit of a closer look at it. So here's the power pack. It really is quite compact, but it's a lot heavier than you would expect. Let me just show you the dimensions. So it's about 30 centimetres long and 18 centimetres deep, and about 19 to 20 centimetres high. So I've switched on the LCD display, which you do with this button here, and you can see that it's about 79% charged at the moment, which was as far as I managed to get it the other day in about 4 hours of tepid English spring sunshine. So if I've got time this afternoon, I may pop the panels back on and put them outside to see if I can get that up to a little bit of a higher charge. And then you can see here that it's got two what I would call normal plug outlets, and there are two USB ports there and two sort of USB, I think they're USB-C ports there. And if you want, you can charge it up using the kettle lead. So I could actually plug this into the mains here like that, and that's the port where you plug in the solar panels. Okay. And so it's got this neat little carry handle. It is, you know, it is fairly hefty. So that's that. Let me just show you the solar panels quickly. So there's the solar panels. They come in this neat little carry bag. Now I was a little bit concerned when I saw them on the website that they are listed as laminated solar panels, and the foldable ones that are advertised in the pack are not the same as the ones you see when you actually click through to the pack on the website. And I did ask them via their chat whether or not the panels would fold up, because the laminated ones looked like they wouldn't. But these are the laminated panels, and they do fold up. You can see they fold up into quite a nice carry case size, and then you can just unzip this, and hang on a minute, and then they are inside here. These are the wires that connect it to the power pack, and these come separately in a little bag, and you just clip them on there, and then this orange thing goes into that orange port on the end of the power pack. Now you can see here that it has these little legs that come out to support it. Now I personally don't think that these are terribly sturdy, and so I was quite happy to lean mine up against something. Well, I leant them up against the side of my vegetable bed just to give them a little bit of extra support. And when I did have this plugged in, I kept the power pack out of the sun in the shade, and I made sure that the lead was not going to be tripped over by dogs or people. So I'm not going to get the whole thing out, but so it comes with this packaging in between, which I've kept, but you can see the panels there. There's 1, 2, and then 3, 4, like that. And there are 3 legs. One of the panels doesn't actually have a leg, and I do think that that's a little bit of, let's just put it this way, I would have preferred if there was 1 leg on every panel. I did look to see if that was broken and it was missing one, but I actually don't think it has 4 legs. I think it has 3 legs or 3 supports. So anyway, that's it. This is the Solax SE200. I'm not going to put it up right now because you saw a picture of it in the garden when I was using it last week. I'm just going to zip this up carefully now and pop it away. I still need to find somewhere suitable to store that so that it's easily accessible but isn't going to get accidentally damaged. Well, that's not much good. Just zipping it up and the zip has pulled away from the edge of the carry case. So I'm going to have to get my needle and thread out and get that mended, but that is just something to bear in mind. They have asked me to feedback on how things have gone. Well, I may just have to mention that, but yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not something I can't fix. So the other thing that I've got going on at the moment is pulling forward the purchase of next winter's firewood, and I've got at least a third to a half of that already underneath that tarpaulin, and as a result of gathering that in, I've rearranged the end of my garden. So the blueberry bushes that were along the back wall are now forming a sort of hedge between this area and the rhubarb bed. My spare water butt is there. Now that hasn't got a fill pipe from the top of the shed because I just haven't really managed to figure out yet getting a pipe. But I need to get an angled pipe from the end of the gutter into that, but the gutter is angled in the wrong direction, so it wouldn't fill anyway. So I know it sounds mad. I fill that one up manually with a watering can and a bucket, and I keep that as my backup of backups. So if I just go round here, you can see that the blueberry pots have now been moved to form a hedge between this seating area and wood storage area and the rhubarb bed, which has actually gone completely bonkers over the last week. I'm really, really pleased with how it's going. And look at all the pear blossoms on the pear tree. That's great. So the mint bed, the mint trough that was there has gone here. So that's gone there. And the blackcurrant bush has gone into a pot. The white buddleia bush came out of the big pot and is now in the corner. I still have to put the red currant bush in the other big pot that contains the other white buddleia, but that's a job for the coming week. There's the red currant that was situated where the blueberry tubs are now, and there's the white buddleia. The white buddleia's coming out, the red currant's going in. Not quite sure what's going to happen with the white buddleia yet. It might go into that pot and go into the end of the garden seating area, but we'll see. I've already rehomed 4 shrubs this week, and I may just end up rehoming that one. I also need to dig out the old rosemary bush and put in those 2 rooted cuttings that I rooted last autumn. And as you can see there, I cut my blackberry bush right down last year, so there'll be no domestic blackberries this year. Anyway, right, let's go get on with some other things. So thank you very much for watching that little montage of my last week. It's been great having you along. In response to Saturday's video about my prepper pantry, I'm going to do a bonus video this week about how to start your own prepper pantry from scratch if you haven't already got any pantry stocks or supplies or backups in place. Now, this would not be the last word on how to start a pantry, but it will, I hope, show you how I started a pantry, and maybe some of those ideas will help you figure out how you can go about doing the same thing. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you again on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we're going to be looking at my sinking funds, how they're doing, and extrapolate how long it's going to take for me to reach my financial goals. So anyway, it's lovely to see you, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.